I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take.
Hello, Reb Shulem, how are you doing?
Baruch Hashem, Rabbi Goker, how are you? So good to see you. I know it's not in person. It's become the new normal.
This is the new normal. Ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon we are on with Shulem, somebody who needs no introduction, Shulem Lemmer, the Hasidic superstar from Toms River, New Jersey, which is 5,658 miles from Jerusalem. But we're so happy to see you. How are you and the family? Everyone well?
Baruch Hashem, we're doing great. We're spending more time, quality time together, to look at the bright side of everything.
Fantastic.
And we're all healthy, alive, and well. That's the main thing.
Thank God, thank God. That's great to hear. You know, I'm doing this series where I'm meeting Jews from around the world, from every continent. We're trying to meet Jews and find out what it's like to be a Jew wherever you live. And you live in Toms River, New Jersey. And before we begin talking about you, I'd like to just hear, what's it like? What's your community like? Tell our listeners a little bit about where you live.
So Toms River, New Jersey is very close to Lakewood, New Jersey. However, it's not necessarily an extension from Lakewood. Most of the people living here are from Brooklyn. So it's a beautiful community of all different types of people. You have Hasidish, Litvish, modern, Yeshivish, Ashkenazi, Sephardi, young, old, and they all daven in one shul. I mean, they're all different shuls everywhere because it's spread out in a few square miles. It's continuing to grow. But it's a fairly new community. We moved here about 3 years ago, and I was the first seat on the block. Now there are 5 out of 10. So, and it started about 4 years ago. Now there's probably like closer to 700 families. So it's growing quickly. Most of it, it's easy to grow because it's very close to Lakewood. So schools and yeshivas and groceries are all there. But it's a beautiful community. It's very nice, and we love it here.
That's amazing. Now, let me ask you this question. For the people around here in St. John's Wood in central London, when we talk about Hasidic Jews, it's very rare we see them wearing a designer label, wearing a nice polo shirt like the one you're wearing today. But I think there's a slight difference between American Hasidim and United Kingdom Hasidim. Can you give us a little bit of an insight? What's it like in the United States to be a Hasid?
So I don't think it's necessarily being in Israel or in London or in the United States. Being a Chassid mainly truly is, of course, the internal Avodas Hashem, how you service Hashem, right? Serve Hashem. But most importantly, it's a way of life. It's a certain way of life that we take upon ourselves, and we structure our families, structure our communities and our children a certain way. Of course, the internal is important. We teach them, but the external is also there for certain guidelines and a certain image, and to keep ourselves to a certain standard. Now, each and every individual in their own way, there is individuality. They can, express doing as much as they feel fit and as they feel comfortable with. I happen to be spending time with my family now outdoors in the beautiful weather, and I'm wearing a polo. It's not. Yeah, you won't see it in every Hasidish person, but you won't find it being a bad thing or a negative thing as opposed, on a Hasidish person in general.
For me, it's very inspiring to see someone like yourself who is very much connected with your tradition, with your roots, with Judaism, and very passionate about your identity and where you come from. You grew up in Borough Park in Brooklyn, New York, and you have
Correct.
gone on to do great things in the music world. You have a record label with Universal, a massive international record label, and you are an internationally recognized star. What's that like, balancing those two worlds? Tell our listeners, what's that like?
It's a question I get often asked a lot, but the truth is, it's not so complicated because we have to really understand who we are. We have to be confident, and to me, I'm a Yid, I'm a Jew. It's the first thing. Of course, I have my certain standards and certain being a Hasidic Jew, an Orthodox Jew, and that comes before anything else. If I have an opportunity that fits that thing, then of course we can make it happen. We can make it Kiddush Hashem. We can try to reach out to as many people and make a positive impact on the world as possible. But if it's, for any reason, a conflict of who I am as a person, then it's not even shy. It's not even relevant to the whole entire conversation. So it's not like a conflict per se. It's interesting. Sometimes it would be interesting finding people who had no clue about your background or religion or your way of life. And I find that a beautiful point to connect and to educate and to build that bridge, so to speak, not only for me, but for other people that they interact with later on, be it from Jews or Hasidic Jews or just in general Jewish people. But like I said, really it's who we are as a person first, and then after that, your career or your dreams or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish.
We had an amazing Shabbat. I think you remember last November you came to St. John's Wood Synagogue, and you
Oh yeah, I remember that. It was
down.
an incredible Shabbos.
It was an incredible Shabbat. You rocked the house down. We had 200-300 people there Friday night. There was a waiting list only, and people were enamored by you. And I think really for me, the highlight of that Shabbat was when you stood up Friday night with Lord Sachs and you were interviewing each other. You were having a bit of a dialogue and a conversation, and you described how Lord Sachs was a real role model for you. Who are your role models in life? Who are your role models growing up? Who are your role models growing up?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. I think, to me in general, I look at things and I take inspiration from it and I try to adapt as much as I can to myself. So even music, I'll listen to some type of music, some type of artist, and I love what they did in their style. Now, they're not necessarily an idol or a fan, but I take something and mash from them. And the same thing goes in general. I used to hear a lot of speeches from Rabbi Lord Sachs, and he's so articulate in his words and so clear and has such an understanding and a way of, I guess, like hypnotizing the speakers, the listeners, hypnotizing the listeners when he speaks. So I was mesmerized by that, and I experienced that Shabbos as well. But in general, overall in life, it's, mostly people that you grow up with, your parents, your teachers. They are your role models, if we like it or not.
Which musician, which Jewish musician was your role model? Who were you listening to on your iPod when you were growing up?
So mostly it was probably Mordechai Ben David and Avram Fried. Those were, the kings of Jewish music.
Sure.
Later on, Yaakov Shweki and Lipa Schmelzer came on at that time when I was growing up. But it's obviously Mordechai Ben David and Avram Fried.
One of the things that I'm trying to do through this series is allow Jews to meet other Jews around the world and kind of to break down barriers. Because as we said before, Jews are very much used to their type of Jew. And when they see you, for many people watching this might be the first conversation they're watching with a Hasidic Jew. Could you explain to us a little bit, first of all, about your peyot, your side curls? Why do you have those?
Yeah.
And they're very awesome, by the way. They look very fresh and like you just gelled them. But can you explain to us, what's the story with peyot? And tell us in like 60 seconds what it means to be a Hasidic Jew.
Wow, this is a real good, to the point, straight interview. So you're actually the rabbi. You should probably know better than me how to answer this question about the payas. Obviously, it says in the Torah.
Yeah, I've got a fresh trim. I've got a fresh trim.
Yeah, but we all have the same Torah, and it says the same thing. But we Hasidim that you shouldn't trim, shave actually the sideburns, the side of your head. But we take that any negative. There's many different interpretations and reasons. But one of the main things is we take any negative thing and we make it into a positive thing. So you're not allowed to cut it, so we'll make it actually. So Hashem wants it, we'll make it something nice and beautiful. That's a mystical thing. There's of course so many different interpretations, but the most I guess practical thing is we set ourselves differently. Set ourselves aside differently from other people, and we are just like to keep ourselves to a higher standard. So if that makes sense for me, at least. So like a lawyer will always be coming in with his suit and jacket, right, tie, or a banker, versus a different job they'll be able to wear business casual. So we consider ourselves. We want to hold ourselves to a higher standard. Avodas Hashem, we are God's people, we are Hashem's people, but not just to do what He tells us to do, but we want to do what's best for Him, and we will go the extra step and do what's best for Him. Always be happy and serve Him in a happy way. So we, it's like when you want to please your teacher or your parent, and you go the extra step and do whatever you can to help them and to make them proud. And that's to me that type of love.
That's a beautiful answer. And you'll notice that as well. I would never use a razor on my face. It's against Jewish law. Shave your face with a razor,
exactly.
for our listeners. And obviously you can be clean shaven, but you'd use an electric shaver, not a razor. Just a little bit of Jewish education thrown in here as well. Let me ask you this next question. You've traveled all over the world, and I'm sure your wife is really happy right now. One of the silver linings of this crazy period is she has you at home the whole time. And I'm sure you're helping out a huge amount. But having visited so many Jewish communities around the world, has there been any amazing story, highlight, or place that stands out to you? Something really, very special from all the places you've been to?
That's a great question. I actually enjoy, as much as it could be a hassle going around, I love going around in different communities. And not only for my own experience, in the States, as much as I can, I take my family along to different communities because I want them to grow up to see different types of people, different types of communities coming together, serving Hashem. We have our differences, but at the same time, we're so alike, and we serve the same God. But in general, it's beautiful to see. Every community has their uniqueness and differences, but at the same time, we're so alike. We're so the same in every way, regardless if you're, Chabad in Utah or you're in Yeshiva or Borough Park Hasidic Shul. We all have the same nusach, minyan, davening, the whole daf yomi, sitting together, learning together. I just joined this thing of daf yomi, and wherever you go, wherever you are, you can talk about the daf. So it's amazing.
It's an interesting thing. This series around the Jewish world. You're obviously an American, a proud American. You sang the national anthem. I believe it was at the San Francisco Giants game. Is that right?
Yeah, I sang at San Francisco Giants game, the Boston Red Sox, the Citi Field, the Mets game. I'm doing a lot. I actually just we did for the Frontline Heroes at NYU. We did a whole thing with the national anthem and a pop-up concert show for the Frontline Heroes.
So I'm gonna end this interview. After this recording, there'll be a short clip of you singing at one of these stadiums.
Oh, sure.
With your permission, I'm going to include that within this interview. But tell me, in terms of identity, American Jew, Jewish American, how does your American identity play a part in your life?
My American identity? So actually from one of my maternal grandmother, I'm a fifth generation American. So I'm pretty much American,
right.
Many generations. But even if not, we have to be very grateful to America. Reb Moshe Feinstein and the Gedolim, they call the America the Medina Shel Chesed, the nation of benevolence. Of course, there were ups and downs, what happened, but at the end of the day, they gave us a safe haven after the Holocaust, and it is the home where I live in, where I grew up in, my parents grew up in, and it's who we are. Of course, our home is our eternal home is Yerushalayim, HaKadosh in Israel, but our home where we live in and we grew up and I got my education and all that stuff is America. So you got to be grateful to where you live in, and of course, to giving us an opportunity to build our future generations after the Holocaust.
Amazing, amazing. I'm going to end with the final two questions. Number one, in one sentence, what does it mean to you to be a Jew? And number two, can you give a blessing to world Jewry who are going to be watching this interview?
What it means for me to be a Jew, it's not that it means to me, it's everything. It's who I am. It's not, I am this, I am Shulem Lemmer, and then, I'm Jewish, so what does it mean to me? It's like, what does it mean to be an American? That's a question. What does it mean to be a singer? It's a question. It's part of my DNA, it's my identity. I am a Jew. So, it's who I am. And I guess the message to the listeners is the same thing. If you're a Jewish person, it is who you are. It's in your DNA. It's in your blood. Embrace it. You're one of God's children. We're all God's children. But we have a Torah, and we have a rule book, so to speak, where we have a beautiful life to live with His direction, and we should embrace it and give Hashem and ourselves lots of Yiddish nachas.
Shulem Lemmer, I'm your #1 fan. It's been a real privilege. I can't wait to see you back in St. John's Wood soon. Have you around for Shabbos again
Yes,
at our
looking
Shabbos
forward.
table. And best regards. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Take care, guys. Stay safe.
Please welcome Universal Music recording artist Shulem.
God bless America.